Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hope your day and your week have been going very well so far. Got a new day, which of course means a new MLB Player Prop video to share with you guys. But first, as always, people, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. It helps the channel grow, and it really does mean a ton to us. With a new day comes some new opportunities to go ahead and make some money. I have 4 MLB player props to go ahead and share with you guys in today's MLB slate. I apologize, guys, for no MLB video yesterday. It was the first day of the NBA play-in tournament. I felt like the focus should have been on that, so that's why I opted not to do a video yesterday. We are back today, and I'm feeling really confident and fired up about today's pick. So let's go ahead and dive right in. And guys, today is a great day. You know why today's a great day? Because finally Outlier has updated, and shout out to Outlier, best sports betting tool on the market. We have all of the updated information now. We're going off of 2025 data. We're no longer using outdated numbers, last year's information, to determine this year's betting props. So really happy to do that. I think this is the turnaround we definitely needed. Now you guys can go ahead and say, well, why didn't you just use something else? And you're probably right, but obviously I am loyal to Outlier. Now we have all the updated data, all the new numbers, all the new averages and trends and everything for this year. We're looking pretty good now. It's been a rough start to the year, but I think we turned it around in today's video. Our first player prop in today's slate comes from the Braves-Blue Jays game, 1:07 p.m. first pitch. We're going Matt Olson of the Atlanta Braves under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. We're getting this one for -110 over on DraftKings. It is available on multiple sports books for varying odds. The data is pretty solid here. 6 of his last 10 games, he's gone ahead and cashed this under, averaging 1.9 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 10 games. Now, he does have that first game of this data trend, right? Or this 10-game range, I should say. Back on April 4th, he had 7 hits, runs, RBIs against Miami in a massive win for Atlanta. But that was the outlier, because other than that, with a couple of cashes on the over here and there, it's mostly been straight unders. And if you go ahead and stretch the data out to the entire season view, 12 out of 17 games this year, he's cashed the under. That's a 71% hit rate on the under, averaging 1.53 hits, runs, RBIs per game this season. So pretty consistent cashes on the under here for Matt Olson. You do have a couple of really big games that skew the average up a bit. But across the board, really good data here from a head-to-head perspective. 3 of his last 5 matchups against Toronto, he's cashed the under. That is, of course, a 60% hit rate, averaging 1.6 hits, runs, RBIs per game over their last 5 matchups. Now, they played 2 times so far this year in this series. Obviously, on Monday the 14th, he had 1 run but no hits, no RBIs. That's obviously a cash for us. And yesterday, the 15th, he did cash the over with 1 hit, 1 run, and 1 RBI. So again, not a complete green bean, but across the board, the data still seems to be pretty solid. Looking down below at the key matchup stats, Matt Olson versus Chris Bassitt. Now, pretty good amount of data there since 2018, 12 plate appearances, just 1 hit off of him in 12 plate appearances. Now, that 1 hit was a 2-run home run, it should be noted, or at least a home run. Maybe one of the other RBIs was a sac fly, who knows, but not a lot to go off of here. 25% strikeout rate, only 1 hit. Again, the 1 hit was a home run, but the rest of the plate appearances, not too much success there for Matt Olson when facing off with Chris Bassitt. And look at the numbers this year for Matt Olson. He's batting 200 overall, and it gets worse, though, versus right-handed pitchers. Again, smaller sample size, 55 plate appearances this year, but a 170 batting average versus right-handed pitchers this season with a whoppingly low 78.8 WRC+. So really rough start to the year for Matt Olson, which obviously is very good for us. Now, from Chris Bassitt's perspective, the data is very low for this year, a .98 ERA. He's only faced 73 batters overall this year. When facing off with left-handed batters, only 40 batters faced. .96 ERA is pretty good. However, the batting average allowed 289 and the WOBA 327, a little on the high side, but I still think overall the matchup is pretty solid here to go ahead and tail the under for Matt Olson. That's our first player prop in today's slate. All right, guys, for our second pick in today's slate, we have a plus money play. I don't think I'm putting a full half a unit or even a full unit on this. We're going with the Astros-Cardinals game, 1:15 p.m. first pitch. We're going Ronel Blanco of the Houston Astros over 2.5 earned runs, which is a plus money play, plus 115 over on DraftKings. It is available on multiple sports books for varying odds. Now, Ronel Blanco has pitched 3 games so far this year. He's cashed the over in 2 of those 3 games. That is a 67% hit rate, averaging 3 earned runs per game this year. 3 runs versus the Giants, 4 runs versus the Twins, and the only cash of the under was his last time out versus the Angels, who are not, let's be kind here, not the best hitting team in baseball. Now, from a head-to-head perspective, the last time he faced off with the St. Louis Cardinals last year on June 5th, he did give up 4 earned runs in that game, so we have a little bit of a head-to-head data to go off of there. Although we look at last year's numbers, looking back to 2024, he only cashed this over at a 24% hit rate last year. It's a plus money play, definitely some added risk here, but he's cashed it already 2 of 3 times this year, and the matchup is really solid. St. Louis, top 5 in Major League Baseball in terms of runs per game scored so far this year. And looking at the numbers right now, again, everything's updated here in Outliers, so all of this is the 2025 information. None of this is from 2024, except for maybe the last 30 stats, because obviously some of the 2024 numbers might bleed in there, but for the most part here, this all is this year's information now. The Cardinals are the 3rd best hitting team in baseball this year, 6th in OBP, 6th in slugging, 7th in WRC+, and 3rd in BABIP. One of the best offenses in baseball right now through the first 20 games of the season. So kind of a tough matchup here. I think for plus money, it's definitely worth it. So that's our second player prop in today's slate. We just hit the 6-minute mark in today's video, guys. So if you are still watching at this point, please comment 6 down below. As always, we appreciate those who watch through each and every single one of our videos here on the channel. It really does mean a ton. I know we've been off to a really bad start. We're 14 and 25 in our single bet category so far this year, but we're going to dig ourselves out of this hole. We're going to turn around, and we are going to be positive money by the end of the year. That is your guarantee from me to you. So if you are watching at this point, guys, comment 6 down below. All right, guys, our third player prop in today's slate comes from the Cubs-Padres game, 4:10 p.m. first pitch. We're going Manny Machado of the San Diego Padres over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. We're getting this one for -110 over on DraftKings. Again, available on multiple sportsbooks for varying odds. He's cashed the over in 8 of his last 10 games. That is, of course, an 80% hit rate, averaging 2.7 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 10 games. If we narrow it down a little bit further, he's actually cashed this over in 8 of his last 9 games on a really, really strong run here. If we go ahead and stretch the data out to the entire season view, a 72% hit rate on the year for Manny Machado. 13 out of 18 games, he's cashed the over, averaging 2.44 hits, runs, RBIs per game thus far this year. And from a head-to-head perspective, pretty good data range here. 7 of his last 10 matchups versus the Cubs, dating back to last season, he's cashed the over. That's, of course, a 70% hit rate, averaging 2.1 hits, runs, RBIs per game across the last 10 matchups with Chicago. Now, they've already played 5 times this year. He's cashed the over in 3 of the 5 matchups versus the Cubs this year, including 3 consecutive matchups. This is the 3rd game of this Cubs-Padres series. He's cashed it in the first 2 games with some really solid performances. And I think it's another pretty good matchup here in today's game as well. The insights provided by Outlier, Manny Machado has exceeded 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 8 of his last 9 games at home, averaging 2.7 hits, runs, RBIs per game over his last 9 home games. Now, we are unfortunately not given a ton of data here on Matthew Boyd, the starter for the Cubs here. However, Manny Machado versus Matthew Boyd since 2018, very small sample size, just 3 plate appearances against him, but he has had a hit off of him in those 3 plate appearances. Machado this year batting .313 overall with a 154 WRC plus versus left-handed pitchers. Now, only 27 plate appearances against lefties. His batting average does drop, but still pretty solid at .292 with a 179.4 WRC plus. Again, we don't really have any data here to go off of here from Boyd's perspective, but I do think it's a pretty solid matchup for Manny Machado overall. So pretty good spot. And the downside too, guys, is we don't have the pitch arsenal and the pitch heat maps for these guys yet. That'll probably come over the next couple of weeks, but we do finally have, of course, the updated 2025 data, which is, I think, more important than going off of pitch arsenals and heat maps from a year ago. And finally, guys, our 4th and final pick in today's slate comes from the Royals-Yankees game, 7:05 p.m. first pitch. We're going Jonathan India of the Kansas City Royals, under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. A little juice here, -145 odds, available on multiple sports books for varying odds. We're getting on DraftKings for -145 odds. I think the value is pretty strong. Jonathan India has cashed the under in 8 of his last 10 games, that, of course, being an 80% hit rate, averaging .5 hits, runs, RBIs per game over the last 10 games. Stretch the data out to the entire season view, a 69, pause for applause, 69% hit rate this year on the under for Jonathan India. 11 out of 16 games, he's cashed the under, averaging 1.19 hits, runs, RBIs per game this year. And again, one big game here versus the Brewers back on March 31st. really pushes that average up. Because besides that, he's had a couple of cashes, but they're pretty low cashes. One huge game skews the numbers a little bit there. But he is cashing the under pretty consistently. From a head-to-head perspective, 3 of his last 4 matchups with the New York Yankees, he's cashed the under, that of course being a 75% hit rate, averaging 2 hits, runs, RBIs per game across those last 4 matchups. Again, one big game back on July 4th of July last year, when he was still a member of the Cincinnati Reds. He cashed the over, but so far this year, played 1 time in this series. He had no hits, no runs, no RBIs against the Yankees. Again, the insights provided by Outlier. Jonathan India has failed to exceed 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs in 10 of his last 12 games, averaging 0.6 hits, runs, RBIs per game over the last 12 games. So pretty good numbers there across the board for Jonathan India. Now, again, we don't have really much data at all to go off of with Clark Schmidt, the Yankees pitcher here. But Jonathan India versus Clark Schmidt, 3 plate appearances since 2018. Just 1 hit off of him in 3 plate appearances. He struck out the other 2 plate appearances. So far this year, Jonathan India, 196 batting average, 76.7 WRC plus. Believe it or not, he's even worse versus right-handed pitchers this year. 60 plate appearances versus righties, 180 batting average, 70.5 WRC plus. So really good numbers across the board here for this under on Jonathan India. From minus 145 odds, a little juiced, but I think overall pretty strong value. That's their 4th and final player prop in today's slate. Guys, that is it for me today. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. One more time, please make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and drop a comment down below. We'll be back tomorrow with another MLB Player Prop video, but until then, I hope you're all winners. Enjoy your day, and let's go ahead and make some money.